Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm starting a little bit late. I had some internet issues. So, hope you're doing very well. So, we have a little bit of a change of decor today. I thought the weather is nice. Why not have a change? So, what do you know about the emission of Africa, CO2 emissions? I know the COP is coming, and very soon we're going to be start talking about CO2 emissions, any contribution for countries. But what do you know about Africa? So, who are the big polluters? This is exactly what I want to talk to you today. But before we do that, let me just first of all reintroduce myself for those of you who don't know me. My name is Tony Tiu. I'm the founder here of Renewables in Africa. We are your global clean energy champion. So what is that we do is very simple. On a daily basis, right? We help you to demystify the renewable energy sector for you so that we make it seamless and easy for you to connect. If you're an investor, what does it mean for you? It simply means that if you want to invest money into the sector, but you're missing some crucial information for you to be able to take the right decision, in this channel, you definitely will find what you need. And we invite you to already look at all the videos that we've been posting for a good few years now. So if you are a professional and you say, hey, I want to get into the sector, but I just don't know how to do it, right? I'm full time in finance, I'm a doctor, so I'm an accountant, but I want to get involved with renewables energy. I don't have the right information. Can you help me? Yes, we can help you. You definitely look at our channel. I'm sure you're going to find a couple of videos that you will like. Or you say, hey, I run a business and my business is polluting the atmosphere and I want to do something, I want to contribute. Don't worry, here as well, we're going to make sure that we give you the right information that you deserve, right? And all we're asking you to do, very simple, free action actually. We want you to comment on the video, we want you to share, and we also want you to sign up, right? Sign up on all the different channels because we actually broadcasting today from 5 platforms, right? So we definitely have LinkedIn, we have YouTube, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, and we have Telegram. So definitely make sure that you connect with one of them. Now, let's come back. So talking about the emissions. I think all of you would know that the contribution of Africa, I'm sure you would have heard about it. The contribution of Africa is very minimal. It's minimal, but it's not negligible. It's not exactly the same thing, right? And this contribution, no matter how minimal it is important for us to understand what does it represent. So what is that really? And this is what I want to talk to you about. And I also want to look at who are the biggest polluters. So if you have an idea who they are, make sure that you send me a message because I'd like to know what you are thinking. What is your opinion? So who is the biggest polluter, right? That's the question I want to answer for you. And usually as I do, before we get into a discussion, if some of you have questions, please feel free to already use the chat command and paste your question. So I'm just going to run a very small presentation, right? Gives you an understanding of what the background is all about. So you see what it is, and then we can have a discussion and see what you're thinking. And but before also get into it, so the question may be asking, so why is it important for me to get to know this information? Simply because, like I say, you need to see where we're starting from, right? You need to understand, broadly speaking, what is that we are talking about. And like I said, because I'm also going to be revealing who are the biggest polluter. So if you happen to be one of the key information I can tell you already, it's going to be countries I'm going to be naming, right? So if you happen to be one of these countries, at least you know that, okay, I may be a little bit more concerned than other people, right? Because if my country is polluting more than the others, so I need to take some actions to make sure that I can also contribute for my level. Because a lot of you're always saying and sometimes telling me, okay, what can I do? Yeah, so if you happen to be in this country, okay, that means it's a little bit more urgent for you to take action than the others. So if you're not, it doesn't mean that you can relax. It simply means that you have a little bit of a room for maneuver than other people, right? So this is what we're going to be talking about. So now let me share with you. By the way, I don't know if there's already any questions. If there is, use the chat command, drop your question. I will look at that in a minute if there's any. But if you happen to watch it just right now, you can already share the video with people, right? Because I know you've been quite good at sharing recently, and I really, really like it and appreciate it. So share the video so some of you who would like to participate, they can also take part in our conversation. And also, if you happen to watch this live, not live, but afterward, still doesn't matter. Still share it. I will appreciate that. And I promise you, whatever question you're asking, I will respond. Maybe not instantly if I don't happen to be in front of my laptop, but I'll respond to that. So let's go and share the presentation right now. So let me open my screen and I should be able to see what it is. Yes, that it is. That's the presentation. I believe you can now see that. I'm sure you can recognize the flyer. And the first slide I'm showing here, what I'm showing is this contribution is actually the total CO2 emission, right, in both the developed and the developing countries. And you can see at the top here the contribution of Africa, right? And few comments that we can already see here, right? So first of all, between that's a graph that's showing the evolution of CO2 emissions between 2008 and 2017, right? And you can see that the developed countries, so they have been relatively stable, and it's not a big surprise either, right? Because if you're looking at that, so the Kyoto Protocol happened in 2008. That's where they have been, let's say, a first level of big action taken, right, by those countries. And that's why you will see they kind of take measures to contain the level of emission. But it's not just about containing them. We need to decrease them significantly. And that's where the trouble is. And in fact, between that period of time, that decade, right, 2008 to 2017, actually the emissions from the developed countries, they reduced by about 0.9%, right? And now when you compare that, when you look at the developing country and the developing country, that's where you have countries like China, India, and obviously those are economies that have been growing during that period of time. You will see that the contribution of CO2 is increasing. And you can see on the y-axis here. So we're talking about billions of tons of CO2. And I'm sure you can actually look at that for yourself. For the developed countries, I mean, they've been relatively stable at around 12, 13 tons of CO2. And then you look at the developing countries there. So what do we have? We have about 20, and it's actually increasing, right? So regularly speaking. And right on the top, so who do you see? Africa, obviously, and the contribution is relatively stable, but in fact, it's so small that we struggle to see the increase. But in fact, I can tell you, because I have the information, that the increase has been 20% between 2008 and 2017. But the thing is, because obviously it's relatively still very small, so it almost looks like nothing has happened there, but clearly it's increasing. So hopefully that's already give you an idea of the kind of information we're talking about. So I don't know if there will be any question around that. So let me first of all share the second slide, and let me see whether there's a question that I can take already. Now, and that's the first response to the big question that I was asking, which is, who are the big polluters? Before I talk about the country, let's talk about the sectors, right, that contribute the most to the emission in Africa. And you can see here again, the nice wheel diagram that show you what it is. And the biggest contributors, I'm sure it is not a surprise to most of you, is the electricity and heat sector. And the contribution we talk about 42%, right? And after that, who do we have? We have the transport, and we have the industries. So why is it important to understand that? It is important because if we're talking about decreasing the amount of CO2 emission in the continent, right, and pretty much everywhere, you want to know, first of all, who are the biggest contributors. That means this is where you need to act first to see drastically a reduction, right? And if you don't tap into those sectors, clearly it won't matter, right? Just for example, you could see the buildings represent, at least in the continent of Africa, the contribution is marginal, only 6%. So that means if all your effort is focused into the building, but you're not tapping into the electricity sector, the power sector, and you're not tapping into the industry, you're not tapping into transport, clearly you will not see any reduction. And by the way, those data, just for you to understand, it comes from the IEA, which is the International Energy Agency, right? So I'm just gonna stop sharing here for a second just to see whether that triggers some reaction from your side. So if there's any reaction from your side, just let me know. Just ask the question and I'll make sure that I respond to it. So if you have no question at the moment, please feel free, even if you happen to watch it afterwards. So let me know what you think, and then it will be a pleasure for for me to respond. So first of all, did you know that? Did you know what the contribution was of Africa? I'm sure you heard about only 3% of emissions will come from the continent, but did you know what it represents in terms of absolute numbers, right? So we're talking about something like a 2 to 3 billion CO2 tons of CO2 that is actually emitted, right? And in the biggest sector, I've told you who they are: the power sector, the industries, and then the transport, right? So this is what you have. Now let's come and reveal now the countries who are the big polluters. I don't know if any of you has any idea who they could be. I'm sure you will sort of figure out already one or two, right? So if you know and if you want to contribute, more than happy to take it, and I'll be brilliant. So okay, somebody's saying here Nigeria. Yes, absolutely. It's one of them. Another one, yeah. I can't see anyone mention any country apart from Nigeria. But let me carry on and share again. Go back to my screen and share you again. So who are the others? Here I am. Okay, I'm back. Now let me start talking to you. So who are the other guys? So it is not necessarily in order of magnitude, right? So but let me just first of all list them. So I'm going to list 6 of them, right? So one, we have, you can recognize this flag, isn't it, right? This is Morocco. And then you have South Africa. So you have Nigeria. So the person who mentioned Nigeria was absolutely right. And at the same time, it is not that surprising because it's by far the largest economies in the continent, and obviously is one of the big fossil fuel exporter of the continent. So you would expect Nigeria to be one of the player, right? And then you recognize this flag. Some will, some won't. So this is Libya. Yes, Libya again, definitely. It's another big polluter for the continent. Then this other one, do you know that one? You should know that one because if you're talking about COP27, this is where it will happen, and this is Egypt, obviously. And the last one, but not the least, this is Algeria. So these are the 6 biggest polluters in the continent. That was after 2018, right? But I suspect between 2018 and 2022, where we are right now, I don't think there has been a significant change, right? So definitely not. Especially don't forget we had COVID in between, and kind of all the economies were sort of in survival mode, right? I don't think there has been a big shift. So these are the 6 that we want to be looking at. And why do we want to look at that? Look at them. Even more important, because you should know that 84% of Africa's CO2 emissions, as far as the electricity generation concerned, and don't forget electricity contribution in terms of CO2 was the biggest, about 42%. 84% of those emissions come from those 6 countries. So it means if we really want to reduce drastically the level of emission of the continent, these are the people you want to talk to. Absolutely. And if you talk to them, and you can convince them to put some measure in place, clearly you will have a big, big, big difference into the level of emission that the continent is rejecting into the atmosphere. And that's what I had to share as my little presentation here. So hopefully that was very useful to you. I don't know if there is any questions immediately. So if there's a question, I'll take it. So if there is no questions, let me just say to you that you should be able to look at those information. And if you happen to be in one of these countries, clearly, so you may be a little bit more concerned and you may be wanting to do something about it. Because, for example, this week I was talking to a gentleman in Egypt who happened to be solar developer, so doing some great work there. And clearly we got into very interesting conversations, and there is a possibility that we may explore some collaboration. So are you in one of these countries? Do you want to know more about the sector? Are you doing something already, or do you want to maybe discuss further? Definitely make sure that you can reach out to me. Yeah, you can drop me a message, and I'd be more than happy to have a conversation, a schedule meeting with you. So that's short and sweet what I wanted to do today, right? So these are the information that I want you to know. So the 6 big polluters in the continent, to them. So you clearly have, let's just repeat it again: Morocco, South Africa, Nigeria, Libya, Egypt, and Algeria, right? So here they are. So definitely, if we make some action on them, definitely we're going to see a big dent into the reduction of emission from the continent. So that's it for me. So I wanted to share that with you today, and I'm hoping that it has been useful. Definitely let me know what you think. Definitely make sure that you share that with people, and definitely make sure that you keep on following us, supporting us. So drop us a message, like our video, and share that with people that you like. That's all I had to share with you today, and I'm hoping that it has been very useful. And I'm sure I'll be seeing some message from you, and you tell me what direction we should go, maybe for the next video. If you have any idea of a topic that you want us to discuss and to expose into these videos, let us know, and we make sure that we research it. Okay, excellent. So that's it for today. And as I usually say, may the sun be with you guys. Take care. Bye bye.